Om Stapakaya ca dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Stapakaya ca dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namah Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So today's topic I want to speak about sacred feet. Sri Ramakrishna said, I go into a strange mood while thinking of the lotus feet of God. The cloth on my body drops to the ground and I feel something creeping up from my feet to the top of my head. In that state, I regard all as mere straw. If I see a Pandit without discrimination and love of God, I regard him as a bit of straw. So, Sri Ramakrishna is focusing his attention on the lotus feet of God. Again, in another place he has said, when the women take the dust off my feet, Sri Ramakrishna said, I say to myself that they are saluting God who dwells inside me. I look at it that way. Again, Sri Ramakrishna said to the devotees, God has put you in the world. What can you do about it? There is no choice now. You are in the world. You have to conduct yourself. You have to act properly. So Sri Ramakrishna is suggesting, resign everything to God. Surrender yourself completely at the lotus feet of God. Then there will be no more confusion. Then you will realize that it is God who does everything. All depends on the will of Rama. Again, Sri Ramakrishna said, Rakhal, one of the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, he used to come to Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna trained every one of them thoroughly in spiritual life. Rakhal is Swami Brahmanandaji, which you see in the shrine. In the second level, we have got the portrait of Swami Brahmanandaji. Sri Ramakrishna said, Rakal had his first religious ecstasy while sitting here massaging my feet. Again Sri Ramakrishna said, my sister, Hridaya's mother, used to worship my feet with flowers and sandal paste. One day, I placed my foot on her head and said to her, you will die in Benares, because dying in Benares is very auspicious. Not everybody can die to have liberation. So dying in Benares has got great spiritual significance. Sri Ramakrishna himself saw, while riding in a boat on the Ganges, when he came near the Manikarnika Ghat, he saw the scene where Lord Shiva and his consort Parvati both were sitting, and trying to purify the soul who has just left the body. When Sri Ramakrishna saw that, he went into ecstasy. The Divine Mother was removing all the impurities of the mind, of the soul, and Lord Shiva is imparting the Tarak mantra into the ears of the soul, thus making the way for the liberation. So that means the feet have tremendous value. We are all having feet and fingers. So, feet and fingers symbolize human civilization. You can look far and look around. You can fashion tools with your fingers with which you could pray open nature's secrets. You can do many things. Anyway, in Bhagavata, there is a ninefold scheme of devotion. Prahlada, the great devotee, prescribes Pada Sevana as the fourth step in the ladder. Fourth step, Pada Sevana, serving the feet. The Lord's feet must be served if we are to find life's fulfillment. Well, people may get some kind of doubt. God being invisible, how are we to locate His feet? The Bhakti Shastras indicate two channels whereby the Lord can be contacted. One is the temple, and the other the Guru. The Para or transcendent manifests himself through area, the consecrated image in the shrine, and in flesh and blood. God imparts us wisdom in the form of the Guru. So, his pada can be served by attending the temple, participating in its rituals and helping in its activities. In fact, at least in India, I have seen how it was daily routine for all the members of the family to go to the temple, offer worship, and then go and do other activities. So our whole life in the home and elsewhere was being conducted, being linked with the temple. All the samskaras which the child should get are done in the temple. Naming the child and giving the food, first time food to the child, giving Upanayana Samskaram, initiating Gayatri Mantra. All these things, different stages, culturing of the mind is done by coming in contact with the temple, and the deity is closely linked with one's spiritual upliftment. And then God has provided another channel, the Guru, who is to be reverentially approached. He should be listened to and he should be obeyed in all humility. In the temple, the devotee can do whatever service is within his means and capacity. He spends as much time in the premises as he can afford, sweeping the precincts, cleaning the floor, preparing garlands, tending the garden, getting ready the variety of ingredients required for worship, cleaning the vessels, following the processions, holding the umbrella, fanning with chamara. There are a variety of services he can render to temple life. In fact, there was a great woman at the time of Sri Ramakrishna. Her name was Aghormani Devi. She became a child widow, but finally she found a place in Bindu Madhava temple, and she spent her whole life inside the temple premises. Her activity was, after taking bath, after morning prayers, she would go to the temple and engage herself in the service of the temple, plucking the flowers, arranging the puja articles, making the sandal paste, and all these things she would do. At the same time, she would constantly remember God's name. She would constantly repeat God's name. So, there was a link established between her activities outside and the mental thinking. So, in that process, what happened? Because of her sincerity and simplicity, because of her constant practice, whenever she used to come to her home, there's a small cottage given to her in the temple premises, and when she would come to her home, she would not waste time, she would not indulge herself in idle talks or gossiping, just she would engage herself in doing japa. And she got so much interested in doing more and more japa, it gave the result. The result was Lord Krishna gave the vision to her. He came to her as a baby, as a child, and began to play with her. It's not for a day or two. The child lived with her for a long time, many months, day in and day out. And she was completely busy in taking care of the child. Of course, this child was not visible to any other people. It was visible only to Aghoramani Devi. But when Sri Ramakrishna came there on a visit for attending the celebration at the temple, first time Sri Ramakrishna saw this lady, and he was astonished because Sri Ramakrishna could see Krishna playing with the lady. He was overwhelmed with joy. He went into ecstasy. And then Sri Ramakrishna invited her, please come to Dakshineshwar, please meet me, come once. And she said yes. After some time, she made a plan to visit Dakshineshwar, but she had to cross the Ganga by boat. In fact, when I was brahmachari in Belur Math, I had the opportunity to visit that place. All the brahmacharis were taken by the Swamis. We all went, sitting in the boat, crossing the Ganga, went to that Panihati temple, where Bindu Madhava temple, where Aghoramani used to live. We saw that place. And so she had to come, but the child is there. She had to carry the child. The child was quite heavy. But she had to do. Anyway, she brought the child. Along with the child she came. And Sri Ramakrishna knew that Aghoramani was coming and meeting him shortly. So Sri Ramakrishna went into ecstatic state. He was in a state of Sri Krishna. So when Aghoramani came there with the child, she put the child on the ground. She made salutations to Sri Ramakrishna. And when she stood up, she saw this child, Krishna, crawling, going towards Sri Ramakrishna, and finally got merged into Sri Ramakrishna. That was an eye-opener to Aghoramani. She could realize that Sri Ramakrishna is none other than her own chosen deity, Lord Krishna. And then in that ecstatic state, Sri Ramakrishna inquired her, what have you brought today for me? And he would ask things which Sri Krishna liked most. And he even commanded her, next time when you come, please bring this. I want. That way. So anyway, how being constantly in tune with the service of God and constantly remembering God all the time, she did realize, she did see Sri Krishna. Of course, during her last days, she passed away on the lap of Holy Mother, Sri Sharda Devi. A great life. If you have not read, please read that life. Great women of India, Gopalarma Aghoramani, her life is there. So, many a great saint has spent his whole life asking for nothing but the privilege of helping in the temple service. It is remarkable, I should say. Really remarkable. The architecture of our temples is an exquisite and subtle projection of man's spiritual needs. In fact, if we carefully examine the design of our temples, we shall see that apart from their aesthetic beauty, they are concrete symbols of the various stages in human aspiration to final beatitude. All the acharyas have paid attention to temple service. Once Sri Ramakrishna said to one of the managers of the temple, he inquired whether the activities of the temple are going on well. And he said for some reason one particular service was not done. Sri Ramakrishna became very serious and he told, You should never stop the services of the Lord. You should see that services are done without fail. So all the acharyas, Madhvacharya, Nimbarka, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shankaracharya, all have found time and energy to formulate codes of worship in temples. And latest, we have Sri Ramakrishna, who spent his life in the Kali temple at Dakshineshwar and demonstrated the validity of all the scriptural truths through his temple-bound life. No wonder Swami Vivekananda once said that if image worship can produce a Sri Ramakrishna, I am quoting, if image worship can produce a Ramakrishna, he was prepared to worship 1,000 images. Well, the temple was the nucleus of our life. Because now modern times all things are getting changed. Somehow we have disoriented ourselves. But all the activities of a village or town revolved around the temple. In fact, we remember most places in India for their temples. Significantly, temple is called kshetra or field. The same way Lord Krishna describes it in the Bhagavad Gita. This human body is also called the kshetra. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityabhidiyate. The temple is the field for the spiritual life of the society, just as our body is the field for the pursuit of dharma. So, many times the temple was the village guest house and often the village hospital. For all the community services, the temple was being used. In a word, there was no aspect of social life to which the temple did not cater. So, temple worship, temple service was not just toying with a stone image, but participating in the fullness of social life. Well, Padasevana, serving the feet, on the topic which I am talking today, it is a multi-layered concept. Besides service in the temple, service of the Guru also is part of this idea. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. Famous verse is there. It is not just eulogy, it is the expression of a literal truth, as will be evident to every earnest sadhaka. The Guru is the channel through which the jnana, knowledge, and anugraha shakti, the redemptive power of the transcendent, is conveyed to us. He is a conduit through which divinity gets transmitted to us. That he is a human being often deceives the unwary. Noting that the Guru works under the bodily limitations to which we too are subject, we think he should be viewed with critical and skeptic eyes. We forget that the humanness of the Guru is deliberate. If the Guru were not human, he would not have been accessible to us. So his humanness ensures his accessibility. Otherwise, he will be an abstraction that cannot be availed of by most of us. The apparent limitations of the Guru are but concessions to our limited ability to approach the transcendent divine. Sri Ramchandra declared Atmanam Manusham Manye. Till the very end, Sri Ramakrishna posed as a man and took care to conceal his divinity. Why? He was Vigrahan Dharmaha, righteousness embodied. If he started using the miraculous powers inherent in the divine, people would have dismissed him as an interesting curiosity or of little help to them in everyday life. Rama the God could do such and such a thing, but we humans cannot. Thus would we have excused ourselves when straying from the path of rectitude. So the incarnation of Rama is a challenge and an inspiration to all of us that what one human being can do, others also can. Sri Ramchandra blazes a broad trail for us in the jungle of ethics and provides an example that can be profitably followed. It is the humanity of the avatar that benefits us. Likewise, it is the humanity of the Guru that makes our nishtha easier. Avatars, incarnations are few and far between, but a Guru every seeker can have, provided the search is sincere. God is not an irresponsible parent who, after procreating the children, leaves them to their own resources. No doubt he has enormous patience and gives us a long rope to play about in this Vanity Fair, samsara. But when we are disgusted with the game and turn to him for help, he readily meets our needs by sending us an appropriate Guru. He it is who comes to us in the form of the Guru. Outwardly, the Guru may look a Vamana. You know, the Vamana was a dwarf, but inside he is Trivikrama, very, very tall. So 2 dimensions. To realize this, however, we have to move intimately with the Guru. It is this intimacy of relationship that constitutes Guru Seva. It is not the abject slavery of one man to another, but the devoted transmission of divinity from the fuller to the lesser. Spirituality is not so much taught as caught. Hence the need for the disciple to be in constant attendance on the Guru. Guru is not a modern professor who teaches a set subject at a fixed hour of the day. The real Guru teaches by example rather than by precept. Every word and every deed of his is an exhortation to the disciple to go and do likewise. The Guru is like a blazing fire from which the warmth of spirituality has to be absorbed through proximity. The nearer we are to the fire and longer, the intenser is the divinity we can make our own. Now here is Sri Ramakrishna. He provided a glowing example for realization through the worship, whereas Swami Ramakrishna, one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, is the exemplar for realization through Guru Seva. His main practice was Guru Seva. When someone in Madras asked Ramakrishna about the sadhanas he had gone through, Ramakrishna replied with the innocence of a child that service of his Guru was the only tapas he had done. And what a tapas! During Sri Ramakrishna's fatal illness, Swami Ramakrishna nursed him with a tenderness of which only a mother is capable. He was literally the bolster for Sri Ramakrishna to lean upon day and night. After the master's passing away, Ramakrishna made the presence of the Guru available to all by enshrining his sacred relics and worshipping the living presence with an attention whose scrupulousness takes our breath away. If the day was hot, Ramakrishna would fan Sri Ramakrishna's portrait. If it rained at dead of night, he would stand vigil with an open umbrella over Sri Ramakrishna's portrait. He would prepare the Naivedya offering for the Master with a fastidiousness that thrills us even today when we read about it. Ramakrishna, it must be remembered, he was a great intellectual. Working out mathematical problems was his hobby. His writings and lectures reveal that he had an incisiveness of intellect of which the Shankaracharya of Sringeri Math would have been proud. But Ramakrishna bundled up and discarded all his scholarship in order to be of personal service to the Master. The small incident which turned Ramakrishna from an avid scholar into an all-time servant of the Guru is revealing. One day at Dakshineshwar, Swami Ramakrishna was busy with a Persian book as he wanted to read the Sufi poets in the original. Just at that time, when he was absorbed in that book, Sri Ramakrishna called him for some small service, but Ramakrishna was so absorbed in the book he could not hear. The Master had to call 3 times before Ramakrishna hurried to his side. Then Sri Ramakrishna asked him what he was doing. When Ramakrishna said he was learning Persian, Sri Guru Maharaj quietly remarked that learning which stood in the way of service to the Guru would bear no fruit and prove an obstacle to devotion. This gentle remark of Sri Ramakrishna was enough for Ramakrishna to throw his books into the Ganges once for all. It is a most heroic tarpana. To the scholarly minded, books are more precious than gold to the miser. But Shashi Maharaj, that is Ramakrishna did not hesitate to detach himself from the fascinating world of books in order to free himself for total Guru Seva. Granthas, that is books, are granthis, ties. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, which is characteristic humor. By giving up the grantha and plunging into wholesome Pada Seva, Swami Ramakrishna was able to attain the Upanishadic state. In the Upanishad it is said, Vidyate hridaya grantihi chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. So Ramakrishna had perceived the greatest truth. He realized the greatest truth in Guru's feet. There is yet another aspect to the multi-dimensional concept of Pada Seva, the service of the Pada of Virat, the cosmic person. In the Upanishad, in the Vedas, Purusha Sukta it is said, Pado Osya Vishva Bhutani. All the living creatures constitute the Lord's Pada. So service of the masses is service of the Lord's feet. In the Bhagavata, it is said that the concept of service arose from the feet of the Lord for the accomplishment of dharma. And again, while describing the various deities who entered different organs of the body to energize it, the Bhagavata says, Lord Vishnu entered the Pada. Vishnu Pada, therefore, is the masses. It is a Vedic dictum that Sri Ramakrishna elucidated when he said that Jiver Seva, Shiver Puja. Serving the beings is the worship of Shiva, worship of God. And Swami Vivekananda took up this mantra and elaborated the concept of Daridra Narayan Seva as the most appropriate means of salvation for the present age. This is the gist of all worship, to be pure and to do good to others. He who sees Shiva in the poor, in the weak and in the deceased really worships Shiva. And if he sees Shiva only in the image, his worship is but preliminary. He who has served and helped one poor man, seeing Shiva in him, without thinking of his caste or creed or race or anything with him, Shiva is more pleased than with the man who sees him only in temples. So, adoring the feet of God is a very important spiritual practice. In fact, if you read Ramayana, how Bharat was so devoted to the Paduka of Rama. When Sri Ramchandra was not coming back to Ayodhya because he had to complete the period of exile, 14 years, Bharat was disappointed. Then finally Sri Ramchandra gave his padukas, the sandals. And Bharat was so devoted. He placed those padukas on his head, took them to Ayodhya. He did not even enter the Ayodhya, just at the outskirts of Ayodhya. He placed them, he installed them in a village and which became the capital till Rama returned. And he began to rule the kingdom in the name of Rama's padukas. He had so much devotion and faith and confidence that during that period all the people were very peaceful, happy and prosperous. So let us adore the feet of God. Sri Ramakrishna tells why we touch the feet. That is one way of getting rid of vanity. We are so proud, we are so egoistic. Unless that egoistic tendencies is removed, you can't realize God. So one has to become very humble. So touching the feet is an indication of bending down your head, trying to get rid of your vanity. And Sri Ramakrishna himself tells in the Gospel, I am the servant of God. So Hanuman had the same attitude. He looked upon Sri Ramchandra as his master, and whole life he dedicated as his sevak. He was the servant of the Divine Lord. And he was so humble, so pure, so sincere, the divine power worked fully through him. So he could accomplish impossible possible. Same way we can cross this terrible ocean of worldliness, being pure and sincere, devoted, and following the path of service. We can cross this ocean. We can cross all these hurdles. We can achieve the impossible possible. Chapter 41, page 778. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in the drawing room on the ground floor of Rama's house. He was surrounded by devotees and was conversing with them. Mahima sat in front of him, M to his left, Paltu, Bhavanath, Nitya Gopal, Harmohan and a few others sat around him. It was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The master inquired after several devotees. Master said to M, "Hasn't the younger Naren arrived yet?" Presently the younger Naren entered the room. Again Master asked, "What about him?" M said, "Who, sir?" Master said, "Kishori. Isn't Girish Ghosh coming?" "What about Narendra?" A few minutes later Narendra arrived and saluted Sri Ramakrishna. Master said to the devotees, "It would be fine if Kedar were here. He agrees with Girish." To Mahima, smiling, he says the same thing. Rama had arranged the kirtan. With folded hands, the musician said to Sri Ramakrishna, "Sir, I can begin if you give the order." The master drank some water and chewed spices from a small bag. He asked him to close the bag. The musician started the kirtan. As Sri Ramakrishna heard the sound of the drum, he went into an ecstatic mood. While listening to the prelude of the kirtan, he plunged into deep samadhi. He placed his legs on the lap of Nitya Gopal, who was sitting near him. The devotee too was in an ecstatic mood. He was weeping. The other devotees looked at him intently. Here we see Sri Ramakrishna placing his feet on the lap of Nitya Gopal. Sri Ramakrishna used to bless the devotees in so many ways. This is one of the ways, touching them with his feet. Nitya Gopal was weeping, shedding tears. Regaining partial consciousness, Sri Ramakrishna said, "From the Nitya to the Leela, and from the Leela to the Nitya." To Nitya Gopal he said, "What's your idea? What's your ideal?" Nitya Gopal said, "Both are good." Sri Ramakrishna closed his eyes and said, "Is it only this? Does God exist only when the eyes are closed and cease to exist when the eyes are opened? The Leela belongs to Him. The Leela belongs to Him whom the Nitya belongs, and the Nitya belongs to Him to whom the Leela belongs." To Mahima he said, "My dear sir, let me tell you." Mahima answered, "Revered sir, both are according to the will of God." Master said, "Some people climb the 7 floors of a building and cannot get down, but some climb up and then at will visit the lower floors. Uddhava said to the gopis, "He whom you address as your Krishna dwells in all beings. It is He alone who has become the universe and its living beings. Therefore," Sri Ramakrishna said, "I say, does a man meditate on God only when his eyes are closed? Doesn't he see anything of God when his eyes are open?" We shall stop here. Any question to ask? So devotion to Guru and establishing link with the temple are very important for the spiritual culture. You have to train up your mind. Without training the mind, how can you expect anything to happen in matters spiritual? So it is very important. You must come in touch with these spiritual ideas, put them into practice sincerely, and get well established in spiritual way of thinking and living. So we have to develop all the divine qualities. That's the way to approach God. Live the life of purity and conduct the life properly. Always connecting yourself to God. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, if you always connect yourself with God, then you will not do anything bad consciously. So all the impurities of the mind get automatically purified. It is true, we do get suffering. No life is free from suffering. But suffering is a process. It's a purificatory process. Suffering comes to purify a person. It is like fire. So it burns the impurities. So each one's suffering is different. The intensity of suffering is different. The causes are different. But anyway, the fact is, suffering purifies the heart. So we should also open an eye of wisdom. Why we suffer? Because of misdeeds. Because of misdeeds. So we should not do bad deeds anymore. That is, sufferings come to correct a person. Correction. You will have to make your corrections. That means you have to reset yourself properly. Resetting. All these things have to be done. Any question? Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously virile. Own name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that bought for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord. In each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and Soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue. The playthings of lust or the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stealest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from the darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery, may the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased, he being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.